In the ancient text of Taittiriya Upanishad, personality is said to be composed of 5 aspects. These are called the Panchakoshas. Yoga helps in developing positive traits in each of these 5 aspects, leading self-actualizations. Let's further inquire about how yoga helps in developing personality by the experts in the panel discussion on the topic Yoga and Personality Development. In this panel, we are privileged to introduce Mr. Stephen Ivanovic. He is a yoga instructor, student of specialist studies at the Faculty of Sports and Physical Education, co-founder and president of Center for Souls and Body in Nixik. From his early teens, he enrolled himself at the International Yoga Academy for the training of yoga instructors at Belgrade. Together with his family in 2014, he founded the Center for Soul and Body. With his elevated mission, he cooperates with many experts in the field of personal growth and development and provides people with comprehensive support in finding personal balance and development. He is currently enrolled in education to become certified personal trainer in the National Academy of Sports Medicine organization from United States of America. His interests include yoga education, psychology, human resources, business and entrepreneurship, event management, and many more. He has presented many papers in national and international conferences on dermatology and oncology research, and also invited by many nations as guest speakers such as Indonesia, London, US, Germany, Israel, and many more. He has been awarded many awards like Excellent Service Award by Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, Ayush Kamal Bhushan Award, Healers of India Award, etc. I feel delighted to invite Ms. Aishwarya Devi, who is an experienced dancer, choreographer, the founder of Yoga Dance System, and one of the first yoga teacher in Greece. In 1987, she founded the Ballet School in Athens. In 2005, she founded new school in Athens by the name of Raj Yoga Anahata Center of Art, where she continues teaching different kinds of yoga. She has been greatly inspired and spiritually enlightened by the teachings of Paramhansa Satyananda, Master Kao Koksui, Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya, Mataji and others. While being the creator of the yoga dance system, she has been invited to many international festivals. In 2012, she presented her system at the International Yoga Festival in Portugal. In 2013, she presented Yoga, Culture and Spirituality in International Festival from Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya University in Haridwar, India. She has made various presentations and speeches on Greek, television, radio, magazine. Speaking on all the yoga matters, she has worked wholeheartedly for the betterment of our society and the elevation of the human spirit. Nowadays, she is making efforts to transmit the global message of compassion, love, and communication to the whole world, to people who seek to understand their own lives and their inner self, regardless of gender or religion. On behalf of United Consciousness, I welcome and introduce our next guest, Ms. Nyamvati. She is an experienced internationally certified yoga teacher with over 1,000 hours teaching experience. She is voted as Kenya's top female yoga professional by the Indian High Commission during International Yoga Day 2020. She has been practicing yoga for over 18 years. She is a founder of the biannual Kelefi Wellness Festival as well as a certified kinesthetic and Reiki therapist with a bachelor's degree in psychology and philosophy. She is also the founder of Yoga Alchemy, a pioneer program combining traditional yogic practices with modern psychotherapy treating depression and anxiety. She uses her skill to create holistic healing and coaching programs and retreats and has been featured as a keynote speaker on global summits such as the Embodiment Conference and World Parliament on Spirituality. Nyamvati teaches in Anglophone East Africa and Francophone West Africa, as well as traveling to host retreats and workshops. Her teaching styles include intuitive Vinyasa flow, alignment-based Hatha, office yoga, restorative yoga, and yin yoga. Her yoga classes are trauma-informed and incorporate a holistic approach to the 8 limbs of yoga and incorporate breath work, pranayama, meditation, mindfulness, energy work, and aromatherapy. Nyamvati's vision is to be a healer and a teacher in service to others, helping transform and restore psychological and physiological well-being through the gift of yoga, psychotherapy and energy works. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Namvati.
Swami Narasimhananda is a monk of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission founded by Swami Vivekananda in 1897 and is presently the secretary of the Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram, Kozhikode, Kerala. He runs a higher secondary school, a kindergarten and a polyclinic. He is a former editor of the Prabuddha Bharata, an English monthly journal of the humanities and social sciences started by Swami Vivekananda in 1896. He has edited a volume of Swami Vivekananda's teachings titled Vivekananda Reader. He specializes in Indian studies, Indian philosophy, sociology of religion, philosophy of religion, and religious studies. He is a member of the International Interdisciplinary and Interreligious Research Group on Conscious Studies, UNESCO Chair in Bioethics and Human Rights, Pontifical Athenaeum, Regina Apostolorum, Roma, Italy. He is editor and executive council member of HNet Humanities and Social Sciences Online. He is also a member of the editorial board of American Academy of Religions online publication Reading Religion. He has publications in Hindi, English, Sanskrit, Malayalam, Bengali, and Tamil.
Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomer is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
I acknowledge your presence, I acknowledge your presence, Swami Narasimhananda ji. We acknowledge your presence, Aishwarya Devi ji, and we acknowledge your presence, Nyamvati ji. And dear audience who are watching us from different parts of the world, we are going to have a panel discussion on the topic yoga and personality development. When we are born as a human, we are born with lots of possibilities to rise in consciousness, from plant consciousness to animal consciousness, from animal consciousness to human consciousness, and from human consciousness to divine consciousness. But what should be the path, and how yoga can contribute in developing our personality, our consciousness further? So I would like to start my question from Aishwarya Devi ji from Greece. Aishwarya Devi ji, lots of people wants to develop their personality. We have youth who are watching this program today. We have people of different age groups. How do you define personality development? What do we mean when I say yogic way to personality development? What do we mean by developing personality?
Hari Om Tat Sat. I have the privilege to be with such great panelists and also with you, Dr. Vikrant. I'm very glad. Let's start with this, because your questions, they need a lot of discussion and a lot of analyzing. And in this
I request
world,
that guests who are not speaking, they may mute themselves. It will avoid any dissonance. Guests who are not speaking, please mute. Perfect. Carry on. Aishwarya ji, please.
So there are so many dimensions of personality, and that, of course, if you're asking me for the actionable tips of a personality development, I will start straight away with some values that we should have as persons in this life, as humans. First, for accumulating the better personality, the tip, we need first to the humility. We need to be to use the humility as because we are suffering from the ego, and ego for nowadays is a stone in life on earth. So we have to break down our ego emotions, our ego wills. We have to understand that the ego accumulation for things that we want and not caring about the others, it's great tip for changing the personality in the yogic life. But how we can show to people what is the yogic life. So we have to be the example. So we have to understand that the ego, as Swamiji, he was talking before, separate us from each other. So we have to understand that nothing is permanent. Nothing belongs to us. Nothing is possible to carry on the other side. Great Pythagoras used to teach his disciples that the only thing that someone is carrying on after his death, it is the spirit, the culture of the spirit, the cultivated mind, the spirit with the higher habits, the higher experiences. So the quality of beliefs and the way of the life that he had created. This is the only thing that we carry on to the other side. So
Thank you very
the
much.
tip is, as we understand, the great stone of ego.
Thank you. Thank you. So Aishwarya Devi ji mentioned that personality development yogic way means reducing, eliminating the ego, increasing humility, and seeing the impermanence of the world and seeing the permanence of spirit, Atman or Brahman. This is what is the yogic definition of personality development. Stephen G, would like to know your reflections on that. What is personality development yogic perspective?
Thank you, Dr. Vikrant. So you mentioned something really important in the beginning, and that is that we are actually born with such a huge opportunities. And there is that one theory about tabula rasa, the empty board. So I believe that we are all born with a different type of board, different shape or different material, different structure, all in all. But it is our choice what do we want to write on that board. So whether we want to go towards spirituality or towards crime or towards something which is just making us successful in the terms of success, not in the terms of business, but in the terms of actually personality, as it is. So it is up to us. If you choose yoga, definitely as one of the tools, we're going to improve a lot more because we're going to be more self-conscious about how the actual board looks like. Are we going to write a letter over the letter, or are we going to write like proper sentences with good handwriting? So like they're just to use the allegory of like we can use a lot of different things through yoga. It can actually help us to go inside, to go within, to understand what is our board looking like and how many letters can we fit, like how big of letters, what kind of letters, and do we want those letters to be able to be read by everybody or just by ourselves? And that is what I think about. As simple as that.
Nice. Stephen G mentioned that we all are born with an empty board, and what do we write is a choice. Choose yoga so that you choose right. So I will go to Nyamvati ji. Nyamvati ji, Aishwarya Devi mentioned that personality development yogic way means eliminating and reducing ego. But ego is my identity. Whatever I add after this, I am, everything is ego. I am Vikrant, I am Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, I am an Indian, I am an Kenyan, I am teacher, I am researcher. Everything is ego. So how can I eliminate or reduce ego? If I want to develop my personality, yogic way, how to reduce ego yogic way? Nyamvati ji, please unmute and speak. Yep.
From what I've found, yes, I believe I'm unmuted. You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And I'm really humbled to be among such great panelists. Now, my perspective comes from both being a yogi and being a psychologist. And that is to, as Mr. Stefan said before me, rewrite your story. We are all born with different circumstances and we're all born in different environments. And so the yogic way teaches you to surrender and release attachments to these stories that we create, that we attach to. However, what I've found is a little bit of an equal balance between both the yogic way and the dare I say, human way as a therapist. I work part of my yogic work is with rehabilitating refugee girls, and what I found is in us practicing weekly with yoga, their literal personalities have changed. Some of them moved from being very timid and very shy and being very repressed due to a lot of violence and trauma that they've experienced in their lives, to being more assertive and more curious about who they are and starting to develop that. While others move from being very loud and attention seeking back to being a little bit more humble and more with more humility because of the meditative aspect. And so my viewpoint looking at both of these is, how do you bring a nice harmony within yourself to make sure that you are actually adding value to the society around you, to yourself, and to the quality of your life and to the quality of others around you.
Thank you. So Nyamvati ji said that two tools can be surrender and detach. She mentioned that life gives experience, yoga gives explanation to it. And that's why by understanding it in right perspective, you can generate harmony with self, and that may create harmony with others also. Swami Narasimhananda ji would like to ask from you also the same question. Aishwarya Devi ji has rightly pointed out that meaning of personality development is going beyond your ego, limited identities. But is it that easy? Every moment I am surrounded by this ego. And Nyamvati ji said, surrender. How can I surrender this ego? This is who am I. At least this is what I believe in. How should I go about it?
Thank you for the question, Vikrant. Yoga, the system of yoga as envisaged by Patanjali Maharshi. Here, the idea is, what do you believe defines you? If you believe that the body defines you, control the body. Take control of the body. If you believe that prana, that is the vital breath, defines you, take control of prana. If you believe mind defines you, take control of mind, intellect, and so on. So the Pancha Koshas, which were referred to in the beginning of this panel discussion, a person's real personality, even according to yoga philosophy, is beyond these koshas. Though koshas are referred to more in the context of Advaita Vedanta, but still, a person's personality is beyond these koshas. Now one has to decide what at a particular point in time. As you said, it is not so easy to straight away think that I am Atman or I am someone else. I am the Purusha, as a yogic philosopher would do. But at a given point in time, what do you think you are? If you think you are the body, then how to completely master the body? Yoga, as envisaged or as thought of, as envisioned by Maharshi Patanjali, does not give you piecemeal solution. So control means a yogi properly trained in yoga can actually control one's heartbeat, those movements of our body, which, because we have accounts of that. Even today, there are very few people, but there are people who can do that. So yoga gives you power over the body. Now, if you want to go one more step, we all know pranayama. Pranayama literally means control of prana. So if you think you are prana, control it. I'm reminded of the Upanishadic statement which says, Apnoti swarajyam, vakpati manusaspati, chakshuspati, etc. So the Rishi is saying, of the Upanishad, the Rishi is saying that I take control of my dominion, my domain, swarajyam, my kingdom. And so, what is the kingdom of any use? What is use of any kingdom if I have no control over it? The problem with us is, even if I believe that I am the body, I am only having a superficial control over it. I go to the beauty parlor, kind of do or put some deodorant. I don't have complete control. So this complete mastery over each level of your personality, and eventually transcending these coverings and understanding that you are the Purusha, that is what yoga gives you. So it defines you wherever you are, at whatever level you are. And that is a big blessing in the form of yoga.
Thank you. Swamiji mentioned that there are 5 koshas and control each kosha, and then you'll be able to transcend. Probably, as somebody said, that my life appears to me as a big obstacle race, in which me being the biggest obstacle. So Swamiji said that these are the 5 obstacles, jump them one after another, and finally where you'll reach is your Swabhava, as Yog Sutram says. But Aishwarya Devi ji, is how I can jump over these koshas, because this is what I think I am. So what is your take in developing my personality and minimizing the ego? What can be the modalities we can use?
I think in the yogic words, it's the drasta. So in our words, is the detective. It's like we are becoming Sherlock Holmes, like we are becoming James Bond to follow ourselves. So what is this drasta? What is this person? I mean, ourselves. We have to find, to look after, to follow our thoughts, to start following the thoughts, the emotions, the expressions, and by starting following and observing our emotions and feelings and expressions, then we will start knowing better for ourselves. So what else can have a person step in life if it's not to understand and to start in a lot of silence, and also in the contributing life, everyday life, to understand what is going on with himself. So I think that the drasta, the one that starts to mark every thought and every emotion, it starts to make a step towards that you're asking me.
Thank you. Aishwarya Devi ji said that if you really want to master self, as Swamiji mentioned that we need to master self, she said start with drasha bhav. If you really want to evolve, just witness those thoughts, emotions. And when you'll start developing that witness sakshi bhav, they will stop controlling you. When an emotion comes, just witness it. Stephen ji, you said that we need to choose what I want to write. People are watching us from different parts of the world. Tell them what to write on this empty board.
I'm not the one who will tell them what to write. They are the ones who need to discover themselves. That's the path of yoga. So when you go along the path of yoga, you're going to actually start to explore yourself, as Aishwarya said, like the emotions. So you need to explore your emotions, to understand your emotions, to observe them, and not attach to them. No matter is it like a positive or negative one, while we're just observants of those actionable things, when we see what are they producing inside of us in the body sense. That's why, like we have to do asanas in order to actually break down through some blockades in order to deal with some of the emotions. We are not ready immediately to deal with the emotions. So therefore, like, let's go back to the question. There is no way me or anybody else can tell anybody as an individual to tell what should they write. We can only teach them how to write. And it's up to them what do they want to write, when do they want to write, and how do they want to write.
Perfect. Stephen G said that it's your journey, it's your level of elevation. You should ask right questions. Am I my thoughts only? Am I my emotions only? And once you start observing my thoughts, emotions, am I my body only? Do experiments, and then probably, as Swamiji mentioned, you may transcend from there. Namvati ji, you mentioned about surrender. Is it that easy to surrender? Rather, when some in common definition, if I surrender, I am a person of poor personality. That's why I surrender in relationship. I surrender in my job. I surrender to the situations. So people may call me that I am poor personality. How should I surrender then?
Surrender for me is really about learning the meaning of the word trust. And trust is the complete opposite of control, which is usually the mode operandi that we are in our everyday lives usually. And one of the greatest gifts that yoga has given me in my personal journey, and I see given any student or client that I teach, is to understand what trust really is, to understand how to just trust that first, if you believe in spirit, that spirit has your back. That spirit is coordinating things for your highest good. To trust that life will unfold in a way that supports you. To trust yourself, especially when it comes to making decisions and connecting to your intuition and to your inner guidance. That for me is how one can surrender. It is not easy because we are raised in a way where we are told you need to control others, you need to control the environment. We as a human species are about control, which is why the planet is in such disarray. We cut down trees and build skyscrapers. We take trees and we've made agriculture. We've controlled or tried to control nature. So by our dominating essence, we want to control that which is external to us versus trying to control what is internal, which is then working on trust. So
Thank you.
my advice to people would be learn trust and start to practice it on a daily basis through meditation, through following your inner guidance.
Thank you. Namati ji said that, as they say, that poor and weak people battle with others' ego, and great people battle with their own ego. They battle within, and she said that all experiences are for our own evolution. So instead of fighting with them, let's surrender to the bigger plan. Everything, whatever is happening for your bigger good. Once you have this trust, surrender will become obvious and automatic. Swamiji, people watching us, what can be immediately executionable tips you would like to give them? Very practical tips to develop their personality yogic way.
Maharishi Patanjali already gives very practical tips, but I would like to point out a very important thing, particularly in today's context, that comes in the second chapter, 33rd Sutra, Vitarka Badane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. What does it mean? It means when you are fighting, as Nyamatji said, it's all about the internal battle. When you are fighting with, you are struggling with something, some negative thought, something which you are able to, for example, jealousy. you're unable to get out of it, develop the opposite thought, develop love. When you're fighting with hatred, develop love. It's such a practical wisdom in that formula or sutra or aphorism that Patanjali has given. He has given similar wisdom for almost everything. But this is so nice. Suppose I am fighting with, say, an addiction. So people have different kinds of addiction today. Internet addiction is a very great reality today. So if I'm fighting with internet addiction, that means let me get addicted to something else which is more better. Let me get addicted to serving people. You know, Sri Ramakrishna actually points this. If you have a weakness, turn it towards God, he says. Direct it towards God. So here also the same thing. So if I am having greed, let me cultivate the opposite of greed, that is giving up things for the other people, giving up material possessions. So this one small exercise compared with another, again, humility in terms of spiritual practice, most often we try to do things all at once and not knowing or not appreciating our limitations. So doing it in small, steps, baby steps. If we can do this, vitarka bhadane pratipaksha bhavanam, we try to counter a particular negative thought by putting positive thought, what we can call in the language of psychology positive reinforcement. We try to do that, and that would be a very good way to. So if I am now not getting up early in the morning, say I am getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I start with 8:30, then I go to 8 o'clock, then 7 o'clock, like that. In small steps, day by day, if I do, it will be very easy to implement these methods and change our personality.
Thank you very much. Aishwarya Deviji, what do you think is the practical steps would you like to suggest to the people to develop personality? Anything that they can start doing from tomorrow? Your
I
voice is
think
not.
that they have first to have faith. My voice is okay
Yes.
now?
Yes. Yes.
I think that for changing the era of our personality, step one is sleep. Learning how to sleep, how to love the Surya, that is the great father, the light father. Sorry for my English, because I said that in Greece we are not using English every day. So
That's
I'm not so
perfectly fine.
practicing English language. So I
That's
wanted
perfect.
to say more, but words doesn't come now. Anyway,
It happens.
so for me, because the Surya, the sun, is producing to our physical body the chemistry, our fluid, everything is changing because the sun is up. So the first step is how to find when to wake up, the sleep, and when to sleep. This is what I believe. The second one is to find, to understand what is the elements that we are made of. So in our hands, in our fingers, there are the 5 elements that we're using, and we have to understand that the body and our psychological and mentally and pranic body and physical body is made of this, and all the world is made of these 5 elements, like water, the earth, the air, the ether, and the fire. So this symbol is very important concerning towards our food, our sleep, and then we will see how this liquid, this chemistry liquid, is changing. Exercise then is asanas or whatever you do by exercising the body. So this chemistry is changing the sense of feeling happy, feeling positive towards people, feeling like kind. And the most of all also is to feel gratitude that we are alive and that we can have a heart to communicate towards everybody. So this is very small but very important steps that we have to carry on.
So Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Stephen G, what practical tips you would like to give to the audience if they want to develop themselves? What actions they should take, yogic way?
I'm gonna be again really simple. So try to find what works for you the best and stick to it. Do not give up. But I would actually just say one thing: start right now, because if you wait for tomorrow, it's gonna become like a month or a year. Whatever you feel that it's working for you, however you feel that it's working for you, that's the only way that you can actually stick to some what is it called? Like, I'm now having the issue supposed to remember the word in English. Habit. So whatever helps you keep and sticking to the habit, something which is motivating you, just use that as a tool. I know some people who have been going to my yoga classes just for the physical bit for 5 years, and after 5 years they said, "Oh, I finally understand now why do we breathe how we breathe." I was like, "Okay, it took only 5 years."
Thank you very much. So finally, Nyamvati ji, quick 1 or 2 tips that you would like to give, very practical, immediately executionable.
Most importantly, pay attention to your thoughts, because it is from your thoughts that the actions, the behaviors, the habits form. And if you are walking around without knowing what is driving you in here, then you are at the mercy of these things called thoughts. So pay attention, use your yoga classes, use your yoga practice as a tool to just discover, but what thoughts, what are the quality of my thoughts? Are they helpful or are they harmful? And if they are harmful, choose to replace them with the helpful thoughts, with the positive thoughts, with thoughts that are a little bit more empathetic, with thoughts that are a little bit more compassionate. Yes.
Thank you very much. So, we friends who are watching us from different parts of the world, we had a beautiful panel discussion on yoga and personality development. Aishwarya Devi started the discussion saying this, that the meaning of personality development in yoga is removing your ego, remove the labels that you have, and realize your true spirit within you. And how to do that? Stephen G said that we all are born with the empty board. We may have been incarnated many times before, but we are not conscious about it. And every birth is a great opportunity that we choose to write what we want to write in this birth. Nyamvati ji said, write surrender, detachment. Life gives experiences, yoga gives explanation, and this is how you can harmonize it. Swamiji said that your beliefs makes you. So whatever you write, whatever you believe in, this is what you are going to be. This is what you're going to become. And he mentioned, start with controlling your all shields. Body by asanas, energy by pranayama, mind by pratyahara, intelligence by dharana, and this is how you may probably go shield by shield and control it. Aishwarya Devi ji said that one another method through which you can control is develop a sakshi bhava, that I am not my mind and body, just witness it. That's the moment we begin with it, they will stop controlling you at least, and then you may be in control. She mentioned that have faith. Develop a yogic routine, rise up in time, sleep in time, connect with the sun. As we have been like this, balance your 5 elements, do asanas, and have a gratitude. Stephen G mentioned, nobody will give you answers. All answers are within. Ask right questions. You will get right answers. And then what are the right questions? He said, start self-discovery. Am I my emotions? Am I my thoughts? Am I my body? And this will take you to either inner journey, and whatever answer works for you, whatever technique works for you, repeat it again and again till it becomes a sanskara, a habit. And he said, the best time to start is today, because tomorrow never comes. Nyamvati ji said that surrender will happen when there is trust, and trust will happen when you see the bigger scheme of affairs, that everything is happening for my good. Instead of battling with others' ego, let's start battling with our own ego. all experiences are for evolution. One technique Swamiji also added, that whenever you get a weakening thought, a harmful thought, develop pratipaksha bhavana, a counter thought, which is helpful for hate, love, for hurt, blessings, for greed, giving up. Turn, as Paramhansa mentioned, turn your weaknesses towards God. And Swamiji said, starts baby steps. Start now, Stephenji said. Develop baby steps, Swamiji said. Remove your ego, Aishwaryaji said. And surrender, Nyamvatiji said. I'm sure these may be the keywords of today's panel discussion. It must have inspired you as it has inspired me. Thank you very much.